Is that true, though? Let's talk to Dr. Ashok Kumar. He's a professor of political economy at Birkbeck, and he's a specialism in labour relations. Good morning to you, Ashok.
Morning, Julia.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. What we've seen in previous strikes, when we saw 3 days of strikes which basically, trashed our railways for about a week, we saw other prominent Labour MPs, including those in the shadow cabinet, or shadow front bench anyway, joining those picket lines, but they were not sacked, and we're told, well, that's because they didn't speak out, they didn't give statements, they didn't actually speak against the party's official line. We're told that the reason why this man, Sam Tarry, was sacked was because he did actually do these interviews. He basically went outside the rule of collective responsibility. Do you think Keir Starmer did the right thing?
Well, no, I don't think Keir Starmer did the right thing. I don't think the line that, he went outside the party policy makes much sense, because what is the policy's position of the party? That they're against real term pay increases, that they support those cuts. That wouldn't be a very, let's say, sustainable position for the Labour Party to have. But it sort of indicates a larger shift that the Labour Party has taken. I mean, under Keir Starmer, you see that the minimum wage, their position is £10. Rishi Sunak's position was £10.50. They opposed the corporation tax increase by Sunak when he was chancellor, and on and on and on. On foreign policy, they're more hawkish. So on many, many policies, they're actually to the right of the Tories, and even on policies that you'd think that they'd oppose the government, like the Rwanda policy, they've come out and said they wouldn't change it. So this is very consistent with their broader political realignment.
And we've seen that big change under Keir Starmer in terms of his bid to sort of decarbonise the party. I think your politics are very much more on the Corbynista line than the Starmerista line. Does Starmerista believe? Again, I don't exist.
What is the Starmer line? You'd have to clarify that for me, Julie. I don't actually know what the line is.
I don't think I know, and I don't think he knows, to be fair. But this is about him appealing to where elections are fought and lost, and that is in the centre ground of British politics. That is the reality. Conservatives win election after election after election, apart from under Tony Blair, who moved to the centre ground. At the end of the day, an awful lot of people will be very supportive of railway workers wanting to have a real terms pay rise. I have to say, I've had quite a few people get in touch saying, why aren't you coming down hard on the OMT? I don't think people should be able to hold the rest of the country to ransom when they run essential services. However, I've got a lot of sympathy for them saying we don't want a real terms pay cut for our members. I can genuinely see both sides on that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to be a front bencher, as Sam Tarry was, I mean, he promoted himself in one interview apparently to Shadow Transport Secretary. He was not in that job. Shadow Transport Minister, let's face it, most of us have never heard of him. But if you're going to take that job, you then have to agree, you run your interviews past the Labour Party HQ. You don't go and spout views which are not the official views of the Labour Party. You pay your money, you take your choice, don't you?
Well, it's really inconsistent. So you had West Streeting, who came out, who's very much aligned with the politics of Keir Starmer, coming out and taking positions that were against the party line consistently publicly. Rachel Reeves last week on nationalisation came out, said something in opposition to the official party line. Even when Keir Starmer was in Corbyn's government, consistently and overwhelmingly came out, especially on the question of Brexit, came out in favour of Remain when the party line was to support what the people had voted for. So what you see is that, he didn't get sacked for that. So the kind of...
You're saying the rules are different when it's Corbyn. So, by the way, you said rather amusingly Corbyn's government. Yeah, I know you think he won the argument. He did not win that election.
Well, I mean, he did win the largest share of the vote in 2017.
Are we still doing this?
So you're saying the wins, but clearly the preponderance of evidence opposes that. But...
Yeah, he didn't win the election. I mean, I know many on the left don't like facts, but we do facts on this show. And also a relevant fact. I wonder how relevant you think it is, because look, let's face it, a lot of the time there's no love lost between Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner. Angela Rayner is, biting at his heels, there's no doubt. Very popular, certainly with the left of the party. And it just so happens, unrelated, she's a lot more popular than Keir Starmer is. Sam Tarry just happens to be her boyfriend. Is that relevant?
I don't know anything about this kind of gossip. I mean,
it's not gossip. They are in a relationship.
Okay, yeah, they're in a relationship.
Is it relevant?
I don't really know. I would say that Angela Rayner hasn't taken any political position that's different from Keir Starmer's. I'd love to know which of those positions those were, even when it came to the question of very controversial votes, like on the spy cops vote, or even letting torturers and others off the hook. they abstained, and Angela Rayner never said anything, and neither did Sam Terry. So, I mean, I don't know what politics are different between Keir Starmer and...
All right. Let me ask you just finally, briefly, if you would, RMT's leader, Mick Lynch, has called for a national strike across the country in every different area. If Liz Truss is elected leader of the Conservative Party and Prime Minister on September the 6th, because especially if she wants to bring in these new curbs on the power of trade unions to strike, would you agree with that, a call from the RMT?
I mean, I don't know the specific call. If Liz Truss does get rid of the right to strike...
No, she's not getting rid of the right to strike.
Right. Do I think that people need to take strike action? Yeah, I think historically, if we analyze anywhere in the world, the only way that workers have ever been able to get better wages is by withdrawing their labor power. Okay. If you want higher wages, then you have to withdraw your labor power. It makes sense.
Dr. Ashok Kumar, thank you very much. He's from Birkbeck, Specialism in Labour Relations. Thank you for that. I mean, very much on the left of the Labour ranks is Dr. Ashok Kumar.